Hello everyone. Today we need to talk about something that most people are completely overlooking when it comes to NIO, and that is the battery situation that is quietly shaping the company's future. A lot of investors and EV fans are confused because they see strong interest in NIO's vehicles but slower than expected delivery numbers, especially for the flagship SUV. The real story isn't about weak demand, broken factories, or quality issues. The truth is much simpler than that. Right now, batteries are the single biggest limiting factor in production, and that reality changes the way we should be looking at this entire situation. This is not financial advice. Please do your own research. NIO's CEO has been very transparent about this issue and confirmed that battery supply is the main bottleneck holding back faster deliveries. Every single additional battery pack they receive from their supplier directly equals one more car that can be built and shipped. This is especially important for the ES8, which has turned out to be far more popular than the company originally expected. Customers are not just interested in it casually. They are actively choosing it because of the technology, platform, and future-proof design. Even though other models are still being produced, the ES8 has become the main focus simply because demand for it is so strong. What makes this situation interesting is that NIO is actually more fortunate than many of its competitors. At the beginning of each year, automakers usually lock in their battery supply, including how many packs will be used for vehicles and how many will be set aside for battery swap stations. Since the ES8 demand came in higher than expected, NIO has been able to flexibly redirect some batteries that were originally intended for swap station reserves and instead use them for vehicle production. This kind of operational flexibility isn't common in the industry and shows that NIO has built stronger long-term relationships within its supply network than some rivals, who have been forced to switch battery suppliers just to keep cars rolling off the line. The CEO also explained that the company initially placed conservative battery orders because it didn't anticipate such strong popularity for the ES8. Now, delivering as many vehicles as possible before the end of the year has become a critical priority. This is largely due to policy changes, as purchase taxes are expected to increase next year. If cars are delivered after the calendar turns, NIO would have to cover extra costs for customers to keep deals attractive. To maintain customer trust and loyalty during this wait, the company has already rolled out compensation in the form of loyalty points and additional incentives as a goodwill gesture. Behind the scenes, the financial pressure is real. Even a small tax increase can translate into massive costs when applied across thousands of vehicles. That's why battery supply matters more than anything else right now. Every extra battery NIO can secure reduces the number of vehicles that would otherwise be delayed and helps contain potential financial strain. Some people have wondered whether NIO could temporarily use battery packs meant for swap stations in new customer vehicles. From a technical perspective, that could be possible, but from a customer confidence standpoint, it's a sensitive move. New buyers expect brand new battery packs, and reuse could create perception issues, so this is not a preferred long-term solution. Another interesting dynamic is how demand differs across the lineup. While other NIO models still sell, none come close to the level of interest around the ES8. That's why production resources, especially battery capacity, are increasingly being prioritized toward this flagship platform. There is also speculation that capacity tied to older, lower voltage battery systems could gradually be shifted toward the newer 900-volt architecture, which powers the most advanced vehicles. If that transition accelerates, it could meaningfully improve how fast premium models are delivered in the future. At the same time, NIO isn't standing still when it comes to infrastructure. The company has announced plans to significantly expand the number of batteries available inside swap stations for the Onvo ecosystem. By doubling the battery count and adding thousands of additional packs as early as the start of next year, they are clearly focusing on improving customer experience and long-term loyalty. More batteries in swap stations means faster service, shorter wait times, and a smoother ownership journey, which quietly strengthens the brand over time. Many people assumed that next year would be an immediate shift toward only the newest generation of battery swap stations, but that's not entirely accurate. Because there is still inventory of fourth-generation station equipment, the company plans to continue deploying both fourth-generation and fifth-generation stations through at least the first quarter. Once the older inventory is fully utilized, the rollout will naturally trend toward only the newer systems that support all upcoming vehicles, including next-generation models under development. The bigger strategic picture goes well beyond just this year. The high-capacity battery packs currently limiting production are not just for today's cars, they are the foundation of NIO's future lineup. Multiple upcoming models across different series are expected to rely on this new battery architecture. That means solving today's supply constraints isn't only about improving current delivery numbers. It's about setting the stage for the next several years of product development and scale. What's important to understand is that this kind of bottleneck isn't a sign of failure. It's actually a sign of strong underlying demand. Factories are ready, the production lines are prepared, the supplier network for most parts is stable, and customers are actively waiting for their vehicles. The only missing link is battery supply, which, unlike weak demand, is a challenge that can eventually be solved with time, partnerships, and investment. That is a much healthier problem than producing cars nobody wants to buy. There has also been discussion about whether NIO could use creative delivery timing to lock in lower taxes for customers, similar to strategies used by other automakers. In China, this is harder to execute because tax registration typically requires the customer to physically receive the vehicle. That limits how much flexibility the company has in shifting deliveries on paper. Even so, pushing as many deliveries as possible into the current year remains a consistent goal to reduce how much cost the company would otherwise need to absorb. The reality is that demand for the ES8 remains strong and extends well into the coming months. Even if battery production ramps up, it will likely take time to fully work through the backlog. But that, again, is not a negative reflection on the business. It shows that the product is resonating deeply with customers and that there is real, sustained interest in what the company is building. To summarize everything clearly, NIO is not dealing with weak demand, broken production, or fading relevance. The company is dealing with a success-driven constraint where demand has outpaced the supply of the most important component in an electric vehicle. This battery bottleneck is creating short-term pressure, but it also highlights strong product-market fit and a company that is actively preparing its infrastructure and technology stack for long-term growth. Once battery supply stabilizes and expands, delivery capacity can rise quickly. That's the real story. And that's what makes this situation much more neutral and forward-looking than many people assume. Let me know what you think about this battery bottleneck situation and whether you see it as a temporary challenge or a long-term opportunity. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more stock predictions and market insights. Remember to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Happy investing, and see you in the next video.